Welcome to our series G-Data IT Talk. Our topic will be today Cyber Threat Landscape, a view from international law enforcement. And I very welcome my guest today. It's Christian Karam. We are talking about this agenda. He is the lead cyber threat researcher from Interpol Global Complex for Innovation. Hey, Mr. Karam.
Hello, hi, thank you.
First question, talking about the current cybercrime situation, what are the main problems today?
There are multiple problems anyway for cybercrime over the globe. We can't really put them in one basket. It would be quite difficult, but if we want to talk from international law enforcement perspective, from Interpol perspective, it would be the current state of organized crime. Organized crime has developed over years and has moved from traditional crime that is happening in physical world into cyberspace. And the biggest focus of it is that people still see cyber attacks as part of a character, a hooded person that is sitting in a dark room, a Hollywood-esque type of hacker, where it's actually not the case anymore. You have a whole set of organized crime structure that is operating. You have people that are skilled in hacking, but you have people who are skilled in analyzing data and people that are doing investments, and you have the kingpin that is on top of the whole pyramid scheme. So overall, what we can say is that it has evolved into much more of a I want to call it a company. There's a business model, there's a business continuity plan, there is a disaster recovery plan, and this is something that law enforcement is trying to round up, identify, so that when there's a real big takedown, it does have an impact on the overall state of cybercrime.
What can the international law enforcement do against it?
Interpol is an international organization that rounds up 190 member countries. So the outreach of actually globally talking to different countries in specifically cybercrime issues is a tremendous capability that we have that would be excellent, because cybercrime by nature is a transnational crime. It doesn't have borders, it's not limited by countries or by language or by certain areas. The most difficult thing I would say international collaboration is criminals, they don't know each other, but they trust each other. But overall, I'm sure over time, a lot of different entities would work together between public, private sector, and different multi-stakeholders to reach to a certain level of cooperation that would really have a major impact on fighting cybercrime at a global stage.
Can you already talk about any successful examples?
I would actually accentuate more on the fact that Interpol and several other organizations, what we are doing from law enforcement perspective is actually inject the research and development and threat research capabilities, because that's something that exists in private sector. And the moment we start speaking the same language with private sector, we start understanding what they're trying to say to us, then we can successfully work together in order to move into a proactive model where we actually try to minimize the risks.
Let's have a view in the future. What are possible cyber crime threats in the future?
The whole internet structure, the whole technological structure is becoming a hacker's playground. 10 years ago, we didn't have that, but we didn't have smart protection systems. Today, we have smart protection systems, but we have open doors that might be difficult to actually close. And people want that because they want interconnectivity. It's a very interesting feature. So what we're going to see is potentially a new type of malware. We're going to have CPU malware, GPU malware. We're going to have abuse of the technologies that exist, which always has been the case. For example, darknet technology when it comes to anonymity, already being abused by criminals. You have cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin or other, already also being abused by criminals due to the fact that these are very interesting by nature. We're going to see several different deployments of new technologies, or just a redesign of some old technologies that criminals would use.
My last question for today. How can a public-private partnership make an impact on the global cybercrime situation?
One of the biggest issues we have from law enforcement perspective is that we cannot pinpoint and put a number on the amount of victims. The underreporting is a major concern because law enforcement looks at the number of victims in order to continue forward with a potential case and investigation. This is where it's very important to work hand in hand with private sector. One, to understand the threats, and two, to actually join information together, because not every single entity has the whole piece of the puzzle. So it is really a global threat, and then everyone can play a role in that. And the important part for us is that we reach out to those big multi-stakeholders who want to work together, because at the end of the day we have the same goal, which is basically making the internet a safer place.
So I wish you much success in your fight against cybercrime, and thank you very much for the interesting insight into cyber threat landscape. And thank you for your interest in our series, and I would be very pleased to welcome you to our next G-Data IT Talk. Goodbye.